Hello and welcome back to System of Animation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and this is Project Blue Book, Season 2, Episode 8, What Lies Beneath. Welcome, everybody. So before we get started here, I'm going to take care of some business first, and then we'll get into the episode. So if you like what you see, please hit the like, share, and or subscribe button, all together there. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, remember at the very end of this video, you're going to see a video pop up here. Basically, what YouTube does, takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up there just for you. Up here is going to be dispatches from elsewhere is what's going to go on. If you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you can hit the bell down below as well. And if it's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you, best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule. It's up there. I change it out every Monday. I also mirror that on my Facebook page as well. Speaking of Facebook, for those of you who still have it, I have a Facebook group page which you guys can post stuff in and chat amongst yourselves. Right now I'm the only one that's actually posting anything, but sure, I want you guys to come on in and chat amongst yourselves as well. I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, I have a Patreon page, but no tiers set up as of yet. All right, business is done. Let's get to the episode, shall we? Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. Thank you, Viking Bitch, for the paddle. Wow. So we had a lot of stuff happen in this episode. And, it was kind of starting off like a normal episode where they're waiting out in the middle of nowhere. Quinn and Hynek are waiting out in the middle of nowhere to meet somebody. Of course, because they got a call and whatnot. And then they flash back 6 months ago where they met somebody else named John who worked on the base in Hangar 18, supposedly. Which they're like, there is no Hangar 18. And he goes, well, it's more like a warehouse and it's underneath. And we're working on something. We're supposed to be reverse engineering a Russian ship, but it looks like a UFO. His gun with his wife and a gun got one removed from his body. The thing that exploded out all the lights and everything last season. So Quinn knew that he was actually telling the truth. And of course, John ends up getting captured, or supposedly the generals call them in and basically say that John was captured. He was supposed to be meeting with you off base. What the hell was it about? And they're like, we don't know. He told us he wanted to meet off base and that he had a UFO story. And the generals are basically like, if you hear any of that shit again, you bring it to me. You better fucking bring it to me, as Valentine says. And yeah. In the meantime, Susie is also trying to clean out her shit because she's on the run. And of course, her handler is saying that we're sending people for you. You better stay because you're in a world of shit anyway. The U.S. government's going to get you. You might as well come into us, which she knows she's dead. She's as good as dead anyway. So we go back to Hynek and Quinn meeting out on the road, and they're meeting this guy named Garner, Andrew Garner. And supposedly he works for a senator who's willing to stick out his neck for them as long as they can get some evidence that UFOs exist so they can break it out to the public. And he hands them some files. So they go to Washington, D.C. for whatever reason. We don't actually know why they went to Washington, D.C. We just know they went to Washington, D.C. When they come back, Project Blue Book has been taken over by basically special investigations because some files have been stolen from the general. And the generals have locked everything down. They want to know what the fuck's going on. And Faye, Quinn's secretary, thinks it's Mimi because Mimi was the last person to be in that room and might have gone into the general's office as well. Yeah. So Alan comes home to find out that Susie's staying with them. And, in the meantime, while Quinn's finding out everything about what, Mimi was there. And yeah, sure, we'll clean it up. Exactly. And so Susie is pretty much dragged the Hyneks into her shit that's happening with the Russians. And there's a guy sitting outside in the car, of course, waiting to pick up Susie at this point. And they see him out there. And Mimi just wants to call the cops. And Susie's like, no, just let's have a drink and I'm going to smoke. I think it's nothing. But where's your gun? You still have your gun, right? Kind of thing. And of course she goes into Mimi's closet and grabs the gun. Excuse me. In the meantime, Quinn comes over telling Hynek that, Mimi stole a file from the generals. That's what the fuck they're after at this point. And so Hynek takes Mimi aside, basically locking himself in the den while Quinn is like, what the fuck is Susie doing here? Kind of thing. We have kind of a soap opera-ish thing going on. And he asked her point blank, did you steal a file from the general's office? And she's like, yeah, I did. And so she reaches back into his office and she's hidden the file and from him even and brings it out to him. And he comes out, shows it to Quinn, and Quinn's like, what the fuck? And then he starts talking about UFOs right in front of Susie. And he says, maybe you shouldn't be hearing about this. And Mimi takes Susie out outside of the den while they're talking. And they're basically going, you know what? This is it for us. We're fucked. All of us are, at this point. We're all fucked. And in the meantime, Valentine and Harding are trying to find out who in the hell Gardner works for by enlisting Banks to use a little lysergic acid, otherwise known as LSD. That's a new CIA drug, in order to find out who the fuck he works for. But of course, they fuck up the dosage, and he ends up seeing God instead. So, you know, you can see it in his eyes that it's intriguing him at this point. In the meantime, the Russian dude is not content to wait out in the car, and he decides to break in. I saw where this was kind of going at this point when Susie was like, "We can clean this mess up," kind of thing. She's talking to Mimi and saying, "I have a way of cleaning this up," and there is a way of doing this. And of course, the Russian guy breaks in. He's got his gun. He wants to know where Susie is. And they're like, who are you talking about? We don't know any Susie. As well, whatever name she gave you. And of course, they've been calling her Mishka at this point. And Mishka ends up right behind him and basically shoots him. And he starts speaking to her in Russian. And that's when, Quinn's like, what the fuck? Why is he speaking in Russian? And Mimi, in the meantime, has called the cops. And Susie or Mishka shoots the guy in the head. And Quinn's like, what the fuck's going on? Really, and she comes clean and says, yeah, I'm a Russian spy. I planned our meeting with Mimi to get in with you guys and give me the file. Basically, you say, I took the file, I'll take the heat for it, and I'll go in. Basically, Susie is now going to be working for the Americans, much the way she's taken over the position of the guy that she killed. Essentially, the other informant, the other spy that flipped. And yeah, it's kind of interesting that, well, she's now under protective custody from her own government too, because the Russians want her dead. And this cleans up stuff for, Hynek, Quinn, and Mimi, of course, at this point. And luckily, we don't have Joel there. Joel is at a friend's house like he normally is. And yeah, shit has gone down now at this point. So, of course, everyone gets their story straight that it was all Susie's fault. Susie was the one that did all this stuff. The generals are happy. They got their file back, which, of course, Quinn and Hynek have looked at and realized this is all the evidence that they need for the senator who's going to back them. And I don't know if they took any pictures or what happened before they returned the file, but still, they have all that evidence. And so they're still back in business. But the generals are like, well, what do we do about Quinn? It's kind of a serious breach and he's slipping kind of thing. And they're like, oh, well, we'll find out more about that in the weeks to come, is what Valentine says. So obviously they're going to be watching Quinn quite closely now at this point. And Quinn gets a little letter in the mail from John, their buddy John, who they haven't seen in 6 months. And he has left them a key. It's a metal key. And basically says this will basically get you into hangar 18. And which is on Wright-Patterson base, the base that they're on. And they go down there and they find the hangar is empty. And it looks like, yeah, they say, it looks like they cleaned everything out here. And this could have been the test for us. If we are down here, then we're in bigger trouble than we've ever been before. is what what Quinn tells him. And they also get a phone call from a certain Senator Robert F. Kennedy, who was friends with Fairchild, who we saw blow up at the end of season one, and basically tells them that, yeah, Fairchild and I was his protege. He told me everything. He told me about that film that night in Washington D.C. that he watched with you guys, and I know you guys are lying to me about what happened over Washington D.C. So, you're I just want to let you know I'm here for you guys, kind of thing. And he hangs up, and we see Banks ends up meeting with the generals again, and basically they're saying, yeah, the person that Garner works for is a little too high profile. We can't touch. He's untouchable at the moment. And Banks says that's a CIA specialty. Nobody's untouchable. So now we actually have set up that Kennedy's assassination was a direct result of him trying to tell the American public that UFOs and aliens are real, is what this show is doing. I'm like, holy shit balls, man. This thing's getting nutty now at this point. I agree with you, Kale Harrison. The fact they brought Kennedy in at this point, I'm going to have to go. And Kennedy's assassination, yeah, because he knows that UFO. He was actually trying to bring uh, the proof that aliens and UFOs existed to the public at this point. That's the reason why the CIA killed him. That's what they're saying. Basically, the CIA and the Air Force killed him. Excuse me. Um, so yeah, and I don't think Susie's done, quite honestly, Penn. I'm pretty sure we're gonna see Susie again because now she's gonna be an informant. She's gonna be working for the Americans now as a Russian spy turned American informant now. And we only have 2 episodes left. We have next week's and then the season finale. So that's all we've got left. We've got 10 episodes this season, and there we go. Um, yeah, I thought this was gonna be kinda like a boring episode, like another, "Okay, we're gonna go through another, X-Files-esque kinda thing," and then they drop the fucking bombshell of Susie, Kennedy, all this stuff, and they're just like, I'm like, "Holy fuck," and Hangar 18, and yeah. Yeah, exactly. You just throw in some Nazis and some ancient aliens and, some Anastasi, you know, uh, portals and all that kind of shit, and you definitely have an Art Bell special at that point. Yeah. So good stuff, man. I mean, it looks like they're gonna, go out of the season strong on this one. And I'm pretty okay with that. I'm hoping they get a third season. Quite honestly, I hope the ratings are up. I haven't looked at the ratings yet for this season, and I'm hoping that the ratings are up enough where they're going to get renewed again. Third seasons are usually the kind of the norm now. You get the third season if it's an okay rating, and then they usually go, okay, third season's your last season. We're gonna wrap it up here. So, but they are playing fast and loose with the timeline on this. They really are. They're just kind of mixing in stuff that happened earlier, like in the 40s, with stuff that happened with where their timeline is in the 50s, and it's all over the place, quite honestly, timeline wise. So yeah, I don't take this as a historical accurately show. This is pretty much fiction at this point, just using real life people as characters in this show. um yeah, that's all I can look at it as at this point. Yeah. Kale Harrison says it reminds me of a grand finale on 4th of July. The build up to the final display of the final. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the third season needs to be a must. Exactly. I agree with you. Great stuff. I mean, we got some good stuff out of it. We got, Susie being Susie, Mimi coming into her own this season, which is really good. Yeah, I'm actually good on this one. Edar says, but it's on the History Channel. It must be true. I'm not gonna say it's aliens, but it's aliens. Oh, man. Yeah. That meme will never fucking get old. It really won't. Not gonna say it's aliens, but it's aliens. With the hair plugs going in right here and your hair standing straight up. And yeah. Everyone knows who I'm talking about. The ancient aliens, dude. Yeah. Who looks like he got a little nip tuck for this next season. Looks like he got a little some work done out on Rodeo Drive there. Rodeo Drive. Yeah. So, yeah, it's gonna be an interesting and like I said, I knew that the CIA was gonna be involved now after the whole Patterson trial thing or the Patterson panel, and how now it's gonna be a is the Air Force actually gonna be working with the CIA now at this point? Is the CIA gonna try and take over from the Air Force? Are they gonna just use the generals as patsies until they get what they want and then take over this whole thing? We don't know. I do know when Project Blue Book historically ended, but we'll see where that is. It was 1969 is when it ended, by the way. So, and we're in 1957, I want to say 56, 57, something like that. It was 69 HR because when Hynek was filming for Close Encounters, it was 74. I want to say 75. So it was a couple of years after Project Blue Book, and he was still bitter about it. That's why he didn't want to talk anything about it because of all the shit that had gone down. Yeah. Yeah, we've gotten crop circles. We didn't get the Mayans or Egyptian pyramids, but we got little green guys. We got skinwalkers. We got all kinds of shit going on in this. It is X Files territory, is what this is. This is a really good substitute for the X Files. Quite honestly, I would say this is a worthy successor to the X Files, and much better than Chris Carter's own reboot of the X Files that he did a couple of years ago. Because good God, that was just horrible, that reboot. That ugh, the less said about that season, the better. Uh, and Nimoy also talked about it on a historical documentary. Yeah, on In Search of, was that it? Yeah. Yes, the X-Files final season. And blah, 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 blah. Now I've just screwed up the joke. Never mind. Now let us never speak of it again. That's what I was trying to say, but my tongue wasn't working on that one. It's not working at all. That's what's happening. All right. So I think let me get rid of some business here out of the way. What's coming up next? I'm off tomorrow and Thursday. I'm back on Friday with Clone Wars. Yeah, someone did probably slip me some LSD or, that's the story anyway. Saturday is going to be Saturday morning blast talk for Saturday morning blast off, where I take the genre news of the week and talk about any other genre stuff you guys want to talk about. And then Sunday is going to be the return of Westworld season 3 on HBO. I'm going to be covering that. Monday is the excellent Dispatches from Elsewhere. And then, of course, Project Blue Book. We wrap it all around again. That's right. Is it worth my time? Is taking a little bit of a hiatus while some new stuff comes on. It'll probably come back again once Project Blue Book is done. It'll probably slip into Project Blue Book's time slot there. I gotta take a look at the schedule, schedule, and see what I'm doing there. You and your 3 wives, gold plates, magic underwear. Who told you about my magic underwear? Um, yeah, take a look at the schedule. The schedule is up on suspenderfanimation.com, and that's all I got. Where are we at on time? Oh, we're doing good on time. So I know we got some lurkers out there, right? We got some I got 6 people in here and a couple people talking. There's some lurkers out there. So what everyone else think? Everyone enjoying the episode here? Or what's going on? I just watched the Venture Brothers episode last night with Mr. Polygamy. Mr. Polygamy. It's been a while since I've watched. I might have to pop in a few Venture Brothers episodes. Yeah, we've got Westworld, Future Man, Harley Quinn season 2 in April. There's a lot of stuff coming up. Yeah. And then in May, we've got Stargirl, but I'm not going to be covering that because, quite honestly, I don't know. I'll see how the first episode goes. If it's DC Universe worthy, then maybe. If it's CW, then I might just leave it at, not covering it because I'm not really fond of the CW shows. I mean, quite honestly, it's got a great cast. It's got a really good cast, like a star-studded cast for Stargirl. And so it should be good. Who knows? That's okay, Apple Crow. They've checked out on you too. Project Blue Book's checked out on you as well. Oh man. So thank you everybody who joined me tonight in the chat. Thank you if you made it this far in the video. And I'll be back on Friday for Star Wars The Clone Wars. Is what's going to happen on Disney Plus. Not a lot of people are watching it right now. I can see that. They're probably going to wait and binge it all. Um, that's fine as well. I like covering it episode by episode, even though there isn't much to the episodes at the moment. But I think there will be because it's leading straight into Revenge of the Sith, which I think will be good. No problem, Ejar. Thanks. Yeah, I'm enjoying the show. I like this show. It's I like all the actors and actresses involved in this. They do a good job. Even if it is, it's fiction at this point. I mean, we can't say that it's historically accurate at all. It's fiction at this point. That's based on some stuff that may or may not have happened. We don't know. I wasn't there, so I can't tell you for sure. On the fence about joining up, you're going to see a video pop up at the end here. Take a look at the video. If you like it, hit the subscribe button. Up here is going to be Dispatches from Elsewhere is what's going to go up there. So thank you, everybody. I will see you on Friday. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may just get slipped a metal ticket or key or whatever it is to go down to a mysterious hangar that's been cleared out of UFOs, because that's just how the fucking Air Force is. They like teasing you like that. Thanks, everybody, and have a good night. I will see you on Friday.